Oh crap. Good morning. Welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning. I'm doing things a little bit different this morning. Obviously, I told you about the announcement of the impending meeting with Willie Haughey and Paul McStay. Different this morning. Obviously, I told you about the announcement. So I'm going to look into all the different factions within the Celtic support that are trying to make changes at the club when it comes to the board members and such like, and for getting fans to have their say on the board. The first one I'm going to look at is the oldest organisation out there that has been pushing for change, and that is the Celtic Trust. The Celtic Trust has been around since its first annual general meeting was on the 9th of September 2000. And I mean, it's all about putting things into perspective. The Celtic Trust, who have been around for such a long time now, for 26 years, and they've not met their objective. Let's just say that. I mean, their objective was to get fans on the board. 26 years later, I've got to admit, they've not achieved what they set out to do. Celtic Trust is an industrial Providence Society registered with the Friendly Societies on the 13th of November 2000. They are also registered at Company's House, but there is no information. Celtic Supporters Society Limited is what they're registered under in Company's House, and there is no information, which is kind of weird, but that is the Celtic Trust. Their aims, everybody knows about the Celtic Trust. They've been around for ages. You know how to join the Celtic Trust, current shareholdings. They tell you about the shareholdings that they have. They currently hold 185,840 shares in Celtic, and they were established in 2000. Secret of success, 25 years and counting. Is that success? And this is no disrespect to any of the organisations. I will go into each organisations and I'll pick bits out of all of them. But as I'm seen as fan media, believe it or not. I don't know how they've come to that conclusion, but they see me as fan media through Celtic. I'm not. I'm just a YouTuber. But I think that we'll have to have a balanced look at all the organisations that are vying for your shareholdings, for your money, for instance. The secret of success, Celtic Trust, the OG group representing small shareholders and fans of the Celtic Football Club, since 2000. And the first football fans trust established in Scotland. Current value of our shares, 350 grand. 350 grand, you're thinking, tidy little sum of money. Does it make a difference? No. 26 years and counting. Is that success? I'll let you decide. I'm not here to pass opinion on any of them. I'm just putting information out there on the different organisations that are vying for your attention. The next one that I want to look at is obviously they aren't asking for money or shareholders, but the Celtic Fans Collective. The Celtic Fans Collective, we all know why they were brought about. They were born this season. You know, the Celtic Fans Collective is a coalition. What I will say with the Celtic Fans Collective is how united are the original 420 signatories to the Celtic Fans Collective. We know that the Celtic Supporters Association pulled out. We know that a Celtic State of Mind pulled out. Big players within the fan media and the biggest fan organisation, the Celtic Supporters Association. I mean, they deal with every Celtic supporters club out there. So I mean, how and they've got a picture missing on their website that's not working. It tells me there should be a picture here. The Celtic Fans Collective was a vehicle for protest and such like. It's all been quite quiet from them recently. They have the last time that they put out anything in public, it was to talk about the ticket situation in the standing section. And then we have the Celtic Supporters Limited. Celtic Supporters Limited, and they are a limited company. Where are they? They are a limited company. They have filed documents with Companies House going back to the 9th of September 2025. Resolutions of articles, memorandums. It's all, and it gives you the people that are involved. So that does the Celtic Supporters Limited is a limited company. The Celtic Supporters Limited, they have their website, and Celtic Supporters Limited exists to unite small shareholders, a bit like the Celtic Supporters Trust, season ticket holders and supporters into a structured, credible organisation with real influence inside Celtic PLC. We are not a protest group. We are not a noise or a division. We are focused on governance, accountability, and long-term protection of the club through its membership, share tracing, and it's similar to the Celtic Trust. It seems a lot more organised from a financial aspect. They do have obviously everything going correctly through the UK.gov website, and it tells you about their goals. It's a vehicle for shareholders, season ticket holders and supporters of Celtic Football Club to unite and to articulate a collective view of the board of directors of the PLC and matters of importance concerning the football club. But they're not a protest. They are not a protest. Duncan Smile, the chairman of the Celtic Supporters Club Limited company. They want to find untraced shareholders, and Celtic PLC has approximately 28,000 shareholders, which is up to 20%, which are untraced. We intend to trace those shareholders. Well, how long is that going to take? Don't know. Is that going to take as long as the 26 years that it's taken the Celtic Trust to ascertain 350 grand's worth? It's a drop in the ocean. It's a big bit of money to me and you. I'm not disputing it. It's a massive bit of money to hold in Celtic shares. So that is the Celtic Supporters Limited, who were born this year. And then we have the new one, the new kid on the block. The new kid on the block, which has Willie, Haughey and Paul McStay. Now, the reason I'm going on to this one is they have called a meeting next week for Celtic fan media to attend. Now, the reason that they've called Celtic fan media is they don't want it to be a free-for-all. They don't want it to be from the way that I'm looking at it, they don't want it to descend into some kind of charade. They've invited Celtic fan media so that the comments, the questions, and the answers come from Celtic fans and go back to Celtic fans. No need for it to go through mainstream media, but that comes its own issue as well. Welcome to the Season Ticket Alliance Trust. This is the place where Celtic fans can come together. Sounds a bit familiar. You can come together under the other organisations as well. There are 54,000 season ticket holders, the core of the club. They are the heartbeat of Celtic, it goes on to say. Our mission is to maintain and uphold a club legacy. In the medium term, the aim of the trust will be to build a meaningful shareholding. We believe that 54,000 season ticket holders combined could have a substantial shareholding. For every 10,000 that join, the trust will commit £2 million with the aim of buying shares up to a maximum of £10 million if 50,000 join. Now, that's a different perspective altogether. You know, that's not trying to find your Uncle Shug who's got Celtic shares in his drawer and he forgot about them. He bought them back in the 1990s. You know, it's not trying to find your Uncle Seamus that's got Celtic shares and he doesn't know what he's done with them, or your your Uncle Tam or your father who might have passed away and he's got a box with all your father's stuff in it. You know, and it's in a box, but you've no idea where it is because it's up in the loft. But that box contains Celtic shares. It may be not worth a lot of money financially, but you've got the likes of David Lowe and stuff going down that road trying to trace these shares. The hardest thing about that is obviously trying to find the shares. Anyway, but then you've got the Celtic Ticket Alliance Trust, which is financially backed by Willie Haughey. Now, for £10 million worth of shares, that would give Celtic fans some kind of voice on the board. It's not getting you a seat. It is getting you a seat at the table. A board of trustees, a maximum of 5, will be formed to include a combined chair and spokesman. Individuals will be chosen by the members on a one-member, one-vote basis until the board of trustees has been formed. Paul McStay will be the spokesman for the trust. He'll be the spokesman for the trust until the chair is voted in through the fans. It does give you the fan engagement side that fans have been asking for. It's going to be interesting. Haughey already has got financial backing. David Lowe's got backing now from USA Investor to buy shares similar to Haughey. That's a very typical Celtic scenario, isn't it? And do you know what I don't want for the club? I don't want us to go down the road that a certain club that came around in 2012. It won't go down that road, but we're not going to go into liquidation and die. But when you've got opposing people vying for the fan base, trying to get as much attention from the fan base, trying to get dare I say, the money from the fan base, or in these cases it may not be hard cash that they want, but it's data. It's a very fragmented situation. Is it good for the club? Ultimately, is it divide and conquer? Are we creating division from within where we don't necessarily need the division? You know, we need to come together. It's kind of hard to come together when you've got 3 very important but opposing entities. Don't want to say that word because that's what the new co call us, is separate entity. But when you look at these 3 different organisations that are vying for the fan base to try and get at the board, there's only going to be, for me, it seems that there's only going to be one real winner, and that will be the board. Because can any of these 3 get to their objective? The Celtic Trust have been trying to do it for 26 years. No disrespect to the Celtic Trust, but 26 years, you need to sort of make a decision, I would say. You know, and if it was politics, you would be like, you would back one horse. Don't know, as the saying goes. And it's kind of difficult when we've got these 3 different opposing groups. Some of them limited companies. 2 of them limited companies, limited organisations through Companies House. As for the normal guy in the street, for the normal fan that has no idea about buying shares and has no interest, he just wants to support the football. They're all the normal geezer that goes to football. The normal geezer that goes to football that is not interested in shares, just hates the freaking board. He's not really interested in all this bollocks. And I'm speaking to those type of people, because those are the ones that are going to be having conflicting information. You know, it's an interesting one. And where does the Celtic fan base go for it? Um, what if Willie Haughey does get? I don't think he will, but what if he gets 30,000 people signing up for it? That's a big chunk of cash that he could have that organisation can have its shares. It will more than likely be the biggest fan-led shareholding. So what does it say to the other organisations? It's very. We are already one collective, Celtic fans. We have the power, but we're not Graham. Like I said in the video, the Celtic fans collective is now fragmented. The Celtic supporters association, who deals with all the tickets for away games, deals with every single supporters bus. You might not be part of a supporters club to understand how big the Celtic fans association is. It's a very difficult one. It's one where it's going to drag on over the summer. And what I don't want to happen is for fans to be infighting. And fans to say that, no, I'm going this one. And if whatever one you decide to back is what I'm going to say. Whatever one that you do decide to back, if you're not going under the Willie Haughey one, which is, it'll be interesting to see what the fact that Paul McStay's got involved in this is massive. None of the other organisations have went down the road to try and get such a high-profile ex-player. Now, people could talk about Chris Sutton being high-profile. People could talk about John Hartson being high-profile. They come nowhere near the legacy that Paul McStay and the McStay family have over Celtic. Now, some people will say, well, we need to move on from that. We need to move on from the old brigade. We need to move on from the boys of the old brigade. Because it's a new era. Well, maybe the new era is the Celtic Alliance Trust and getting behind that. There's a comment there. The fans are united. No, they're not, mate. And then there's Nick Taylor says, "You're kidding, bro. You're kidding." The fans aren't united. I could see it from you just need to go online, and you could see the different supporters clubs having different agendas. Supporters clubs have never always got on. Some supporters clubs never agree with each other. Some supporters clubs think they're better than other clubs, and it's always been the Celtic way. And always happens when you do get such a big, diverse support. I just hope once we do get the information, I think there's a week's tomorrow, from Willie Haughey and Paul McStay. It'll be interesting to see what the ultimate outcome will be with regards of what fans think, because ultimately the fans, Baz McStay will be getting paid for using his name, says Peter King. I don't think he's getting paid to use his name. The fact that he's turning up in person, he's flying over from Australia. Yes, he will be getting his flights paid for. I know how these things work, but I don't think that he'll be getting paid to go against the Celtic board. He would only be getting involved if he thought it was the right thing to do. Paul's had nothing to do with Celtic or football for the day that he retired. it'll be very interesting to ask Paul personally, the people that are there, is why now? Why after all these years of not wanting to be in the limelight when it comes to Celtic, with not wanting to have anything to do with the fan base. He's not been one of these ex-players like Sutton, Hartson, and Thompson, and the other modern day players that jumped on the bandwagon and milked the fans by going to events and speaking the same story. And as Chris Sutton says, a lot of his stories are made up when he goes to events. That was Chris Sutton's own words. He sat at events and said, "Don't listen to me. The majority of my stories when I come here are made up." It's just playing to the crowd. Paul McStay's never played to the crowd. He's never played to the audience. He's never sought that attention. So why now? Why step out of the shadows, if you like, from afar, and he's basically a mascot. Is he a mascot? I don't think he's a mascot. He's a person that throughout his lifetime, his family has had a deeper connection with Celtic and a longer historical connection with Celtic than pretty much anybody on the board, the modern day board. Is that a good thing? Because you then think, well, he's got connections to the old board, the old way of doing Celtic. The legend once changed. That's why Paul McStay is a true fan and club legend. For the Season Ticket Alliance, I mean, missed that. He's basically a mascot for the Season Ticket Alliance. He's a spokesman for it. I don't think that that's a mascot. A mascot just comes in, sits and goes, "Yeah, I'm up for it. I'm getting paid to sit here and just to show my face." But he's a spokesman, which tells me that there has to have been a lot of dialogue. This isn't something that's just been sat and agreed in a pub after a game, half pissed, is it? This isn't something that's been sat and done on a supporters bus. It's not something that's been written down on the back end of a packet of fags, like the old days. You're talking about potential investment in shares of £10 million. People will say, spokesman's a better analogy for it. I could see that you're against it already, mate. So, and it is all about opinions. And this is where I can see it on the chat already. Division. Somebody says that the fans are together, but then I'm looking through the comments and all you see is division, which tells me the fans aren't together. It's it's an interesting scenario to sit and watch play out, and it's going to be one that's going to go way back over. It's going to go right over the summer. Is it correct to do it once the season's finished? I would say yes. Is it correct to do it the week of the cup final? Well, that's it. Paul and Willie go back years. At least they're doing it right. They are that. The McStay family. The history that they've got back, going way back before Paul and Willie were playing for Celtic together, is admirable. And I just think that it's going to be an emotional week next week. It's going to be an emotional weekend. Whatever happens this week, we could maybe be going into this meeting on Tuesday, and we could be on cloud nine as fans, or we could be sitting going, well, that was it was almost. We complain so much as a fan base about having no voice and the board will just do what it wants, but now we have an opportunity to upset the norm. People are still complaining. It's true. It is true. But this is why I have this platform, to give people a say. don't know, without being judgmental, although I might think you're bonkers. But I'm only joking. And it will be interesting to see how this one plays out. The only thing we need rid of are the numpties on the board. Well, that was my next thing. The only way that you're really going to bring about unity, the only way that you will get people like the Celtic Ticket Alliance Trust, people like the Celtic Supporters Association Limited, people like the Celtic Trust. The only way that you're going to get them to really fold is by someone coming in with £100 million to buy out Dermot Desmond. And in the reality, is that going to happen? No. That's the sad reality of the situation. Stephen Johnson says, Baz, if you use the King of Kings, with arguing them, but I'll be soaks people who will come. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that. You're right, mate. If Henrik Larsson was to front the Season Ticket Alliance Trust, people would say he'd been bought. But it is what it is, isn't it? And maybe the only way forward, there's no way that you can force someone to sell their shares. All you can do is try and have someone that can buy up shares to the extent where maybe they take over. The fans haven't been united since the Ange era, Baz. The last few years, the Boers have completely fucked the club, causing conflict. A lot of people will say, why talk about this week when we've got a chance of winning? The board would say, why talk about this now? Can we not just park the bus? This is what the board did say. Can we not have a bit of unity until we get the season done and dusted, and then we'll do it at the end of the season? Well, as soon as the season ends, there's a meeting with the Celtic Season Ticket Alliance. He's given the board what they asked for. He's given the board the breathing room that they asked for. And maybe it's right to do it right the first Tuesday after the season's end. Whether we win the league, whether we don't win the league. Maybe it is the right time to do it, because maybe it is that time. The board asked for unity until the end of the season. The season is then over. And maybe it is that time to give them a summer of discontent. The Celtic supporters, the Celtic fans collective, for all the goodness that they embraced as a collective, I think that when it came to the AGM, there was a lot of people unimpressed with the way that the Celtic fans collective conducted itself. Hence the reason that you've got the Celtic Supporters Limited, who have it in their website. We are not a protest group. We are not about noise or division. That it is trying to unite the fans, but that in itself can be divisive, and it is weird. Trying to unite small shareholdings. Out of the three organisations, when you look at the Celtic Trust, 25 years and counting, the secret of success. That's one of the most having done worked in advertising, well, having done advertising, and I've seen a lot of advertising headlines over my years, and I've had a lot of successful advertising slogans, headlines, and hooks, as they're now called in the multimedia game. Headlines, as you may call them. That, for me, the secret of success, 25 years and counting. I would ditch that if I was the Celtic Trust, because that's not success. And like I've said before, we need something that has an achievable target. The Celtic Supporters Limited, you can understand what they're trying to do, but does it have an achievable time limit? When we're talking about trying to get change at the club, we need something that has a time scale. And I think that that's one of the things that should be asked of the Paul McStay and Willie Haughey Celtic Supporters Alliance. It's all getting very confused now. The Season Tickets Alliance Trust. I think that that's one thing that should be asked. I mean, how long? I mean, they know that there's 54,000 season ticket holders. How long are they going to give those 54,000 season ticket holders? Are they hoping to get it done in a month? Are they hoping to get everyone signed up in a season, a year? Or are they putting a target so that to entice people to sign up, give them a reason to sign up, because they know? And the question should then be, well, if you're aiming to buy 10 million, up to 10 million pounds worth of shares, how exactly are you going to do that? Is it achievable? How quick can that be achieved? Then there's all sorts of the questions that needs to be asked, because it seems to be that this is the only one that has an objective that could be achievable. The other ones have objectives, but they're, from a business point of view, they're kind of vague objectives that don't have time. 25 years and counting isn't really a time limit, is it? That's just it's a hit and hope. And I don't hope that nobody finds that offensive, but it's a hit and hope, isn't it? It's you've been plodding away for 25 years, and it's like doing the same shit over and over again and just getting the same outcome. Doesn't seem to have worked. The Celtic Fans Collective was a voice to try and bring fans together, and then you've got yeah. So it is going to be interesting. It's let's just get back to all things football, and we'll park the bus, as the board like to say. We will park the bus for this one until next Tuesday. Unless I could talk the wife into me flying over on the Monday, flying back on the Wednesday. I don't know. A certain kind of 35k in 25 years. Yes, that's all the shares that the Celtic Trust have managed to amass. It's a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot of money. But like you say, it's in 25 years. Let me jump into some of the comments before we find up. Baz, I don't think it's division. I think it's the fans are sceptical when it comes to something for free. Other than that, those are looking for money. Both should sit together and see if they have the same objective. I don't think that Willie Haughey is setting up a limited company. And he's definitely not setting up people on the board of that company. You know, when that type of scenario, to me, you know, where you've got a board of directors. So we've got a board of directors who aren't voted onto the board of directors. And I'm not trying to create division here, but I'm just sort of speaking my mind, that the way that normal fans will try and think about it. So you've got a board of directors on the Celtic Supporters Limited that are unvoted by the fans, but we're asking the fans to join it to try and vote against the board that are unvoted against. It's a very Celtic scenario, isn't it? And then we have to find out exactly what kind of input will the multi-millionaire, is it a billionaire? I don't know. He's maybe a billionaire, isn't he? Anyway, Willie Haughey, with money flying out his jacksie, all sorts. He's got 10 million to spare, and he thought, do you know what? I'm not going to be able to spend this 10 million in my lifetime. My family don't need it. Don't know. I'm going to put it in a trust. It's something that it's something that you kind of wish that Fergus McCann had done, but he tried to, didn't he? But obviously he wanted the 40 million in cash, and whilst selling all these shares to 28,000 Celtic fans at the time who took up the opportunity to buy Celtic shares, he obviously he wasn't going to get in the 40 million just from the 28,000 fans that were there. He obviously had to sell big chunks of shares to companies that would buy them up. And unfortunately for Celtic, Dermot Desmond, who was then left in a position of being the biggest shareholder, decided to turn into a kind of dictator. And you've got to feel for Fergus, because that's not what Fergus wanted. He didn't want one person to have an overall say in the running of the club. He didn't want one person to basically be able to bully the board. But that's what Dermot has ultimately done. And I know that Dermot Desmond doesn't give a shit. You know, he's a billionaire through making decisions where people like us are it doesn't matter what the outcome is, as long as he's making his money. That's how these people make their money. Should it be seen as admirable that someone like Willie Haughey has just given away £10 million? Some people will be very, very wary. Don't know. Don't know. Nobody gives away 10 million quid. The irony is they do when they've got that much bloody money, that they give money away left, right, and centre. So anyway, we've done it before. Some of the comments. JD is doing the Celtic top, all sizes, £25. There you go. I need to. I might just come home just to buy some Celtic merch. The season's over. Are we allowed to buy Celtic merch now that the season's over? I'm asking the is it the collective, or is there not another penny campaign continuing? So that's another thing that we don't know. Don't know that the Celtic fans collective have went radio silent on everything with their campaign. Don't know if you want to keep out. This is when campaigns kind of run out. And I suggest that that's maybe what's happened with the Celtic Trust. 25, 26 years later, don't know, it's maybe hit a momentum. I know that it hit a momentum about 10 years ago. More than that, it would have been, because it was before the Green Brigade was 15 years. So 10 years. Was it? Can't remember. It was a long time ago. And you could maybe think, well, maybe because the campaign has went stagnant. And let's face it, there's a lot of people that are in the Celtic Trust, that are in the Celtic Fans Collective. Kind of tells you why it's maybe went wrong. Gus is in. What way do you see the summer going, Baz? Will there be proper investment in the squad? Yes. Yes. That's not even talking about investment into facilities. Well, the major investment in facilities wise on the Celtic profit and loss account sheet has pretty much been done, hasn't it? I mean, the facilities that we now need updated now is Celtic Park, and inside Celtic Park. I mean, I don't think that the stairs inside Celtic Park have been painted yellow for about 4 or 5 years. I remember the time that I don't know a guy who runs a company in Manchester who deals with Man United. He deals with Man City and a lot of, and they're in power washing the whole interior of the stadium as soon as the season's finished. Then getting it ready for the painters and everybody to come in. I mean, they clean out the exterior of the building. Celtic seems to just, we'll just put up some banners and just cover up the fucking mess. It's Lennoxtown's had the investment that was needing updated too. Barrowfield's being updated. Is there money? Because, well, the thing is that if the way that the finances are going to go of the club this summer, we're going to have to sell players. We're going to have to sell 20 to 30 million, 40 million pounds worth of players. Now that will enrage fans, and I get it. I get it why you'll be enraged that we're going to sell 30 to 40 million pounds of players to pretty much use as the rebuild for next season. A lot of people say, well, we've got 70 million in the bank. but we're also 40 million down, I reckon, as an estimate from last year's turnover. Now, when we get to the October, when the AGM will be, and before the AGM, Celtic will put out the accounts, and the accounts won't be pretty reading. It will be impressive, but and there will be people in the fan base that go, well, it worked. The Not Another Penny campaign worked. Is that something to be proud of? That we're financially affecting the club going forward? Is that what you want? Do you really want to bring the club to its knees to make change? Because Dermot Desmond will not walk away if we go back down to £5 million in the bank. Dermot Desmond will be even more determined to turn the business around again. And that determination and fire in your belly when you're talking about that kind of money, that's a big motivator, do you know? Yes, he may get rid of some people off the board, but he'll bring in his own lackeys. He'll bring in people that he knows, likes, and trusts that have been at other organisations that have dealt with 100 million plus income. It's a crazy old season. Do I see a big investment in the playing squad? Yes, but it will come at a cost of selling at least £40 million worth of players this summer for the rebuild. We'll wait and see what happens. But anyway, why am I whispering? I'm not whispering. Am I? I'm not whispering. What are you talking about? What happens? But anyway, I know I'm not whispering. Turn your volume up. The collective don't have the financial clout Haughey has. This is true, and this is it's a very Celtic scenario, isn't it? We're talking about the people with money, and we want them gone, and we want change with the people with money, but we're now talking about getting behind someone that has money. It is a very Celtic thing. I'm just going to read some through these comments. I would love to hear what the Bunnet is thinking about everything. That would be an interview that I would love. I mean, I think, in all honesty, I think the only person that could maybe get that interview would be a Celtic State of Mind due to his connections within the game. You never know. Maybe an ex. Now that there's a lot of ex-Celtic players doing podcasts as well, jumping on the YouTube podcast thing, it's maybe some of them could come out and try and get an interview with the Bunnet. Maybe Cy Ferry. maybe maybe Open Goal could do that, considering that they're owned by Lowell. He could ship someone over there, fly someone over to meet yes. One Celtic fans view as here's all mine. Good as McStay, we feel he ran away from being captain who lost 9 to the Huns, played 5 aside. How can you say that Paul McStay ran away? It was an injury that brought his career to an early end. I don't think any player, any ex-player that knew Paul McStay at that time would say that Paul McStay ran away. I mean, it was kind of injury, wasn't it? Not another peso, Barry. God, if we only still had that. There's a difference between playing top-level football and playing 5-a-side. The collective have been quiet since the Green Brigade were invited back to Celtic Park. Wouldn't surprise me if that's the condition from the board. I don't know, but if you want to have a campaign, don't know, and I wouldn't have stopped it. If it was me that had anything to do with the high level people at the collective, I would say that you would have to keep on reminding people on a weekly basis of the objective of the collective. I don't mean doing protest. I don't mean throwing silly ball. That was the worst protest ever. Even though it wasn't nothing to do with the collective, they say, but it was agreed at a collective meeting. I think that you have to keep that kind of campaign going. It's subtle. You can keep a campaign going subtly. You don't have to have it as disruptive. Going in and not even allowing an AGM to start. Mrs. Anti-Establishment just standing up and shouting, fucking, we don't like you! Oh, Jeanette Finley's going to kill me for that one, wouldn't she? By last season, and not the new. By last season and not the new. Yeah, it would be. Well, this would be last season's once the season ends, isn't it? So I could buy the old one. Yeah, can we do that? The board have scaled back the battlefield plans. They were wanting to get in a bed with Sevco in the city. Not another penny fell on its arse when they decided that season tickets were not part of it, says John Donnelly. Yeah, pretty much. I think so. All my family are Celtic fans since I was young. I agree with Paul. Dreading season to finish, Baz. With all this going on board, fans don't even have a manager, scouting team, and losing 14 players. Hope it doesn't drag on through the summer, but scrambling about start nets. No, I still think that there will be an announcement when it comes to managerial. When it comes to the managerial stuff, I think there will be an announcement before the end of this month. Baz, we're going to sell probably 40 million players roughly with Engels, Dyson, Rio, Welsh, yep, and probably a few more. Keep an eye on Alistair Johnston after the World Cup. I don't think Alistair Johnston will be one of the ones that goes. And it's a bit like people were saying about Cameron Carter-Vickers. There's more chance of us selling Cameron Carter-Vickers due to the term, the length that he's been at the club. But because he was out injured, I can't see a club coming in for either Alistair Johnston or... You never know, though. Somebody might just go, he's had a good World Cup. It's all about money. Yes, it is. Celtic FC are nothing more than a plaything and a day out with his mates for a Desmond. Yes. What age is Fergus now? God, surely he's older than James Forrest. And James Forrest has been at the club for an eternity. Oh jeez, yeah, yes, that would have been why I was whispering, mate. GD is top Kunuzu online. Right, Danny Gus is coming with a super chat this morning. Just seen that. Best Celtic channel on YouTube. You may think so, but others may think not, mate. Sadly, and yeah, thank you for your fantastic super chat and your comment. But there are a lot bigger YouTube Celtic channels out there. Fair play to them. Anyway, that is me done and dusted this morning. A little bit quieter this morning by 1,000 views. Go figure that shit out. We were 1,000 views more by this time yesterday than what we are this morning on the video. But it doesn't matter because I'm here for the love of you. No, that's wrong. No. I don't want your love. That's fucking weird. I'm here for the love of Celtic, by God. Anyway, I could just say James Forrest in the bonnet. Wait a minute. Where's mine? I do have a bonnet, a Celtic one. It's a bit as old as the bonnet himself. Anyway, right, Jamesy would be perfect in high school. Yeah, he probably was. Right, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world. We'll be back tonight where we'll talk about everything that is, getting ready for the game. You're talking shite. The number one channel. Thank you, Jim. Thank you. But yeah. I fucking hate this time of year because it's like it's coming to an end. It is coming to an end, isn't it? It's like, but then the missus go, you fucking talk shite. It's coming to an end, my arse. You tell me this every year. There's 1 week left of football. You fucking, there's football in all summer. You're still on that fucking channel every day. It's gonna love it. Have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are. all around the world.